Welcome, guys. Hope everybody's well. So it's Wednesday morning. A few things to go over. We've obviously got just anticipation and expectation coming up. So obviously that is the main thing that we are focusing on. This is what the week's been gearing up for today and tomorrow. Interest rate decision day. It's crazy days. So interest rate decision day for CAD and for the US dollar. Tomorrow we got euro and pound as well. So everyone expected to hold. So not really worrying about the interest rate decision. It's going to be the statements. And obviously nobody really understands or nobody can. This is one thing you can't pre-price in, statement. There can be anticipation, there can be expectation, but you can't price in. It's probably the one thing in macros. We obviously like to go with macros and trend because we can get things, right most of the time. But obviously, one thing that we obviously can't judge is what they're going to say in the statement, especially with Jerome Powell. He's under a lot of pressure. I wouldn't want his job right now, but let's wait and see. So coming into the dollar, and obviously I'm going to address what we did last night because markets were so slow. Is we held two positions, AUD USD and GBP USD. So let's start with Aussie. Aussie, I held is pretty much actually where entries are right now. So obviously expecting price to come back up. We're consolidating, moving slowly. I'd like to be out of these. Obviously, we do have a bit of time. We don't trade CAD, so we don't have to worry. And obviously, the Fed is later on this evening, so we don't have to worry too much. But there's going to be markets. I am anticipating being a bit quiet now. Aussie, we obviously had two triggers yesterday. I'd said to everybody I wasn't going to trigger number three and to move my stops to this entry here. So we banked this profit here. And obviously this one was break even. So really, really happy. Nice trade. I was doing this off the back of yields. Yields were and are holding at these highs, whereas dollar, it's not really doing anything right now. So that's what was giving me that confidence to obviously hold into yesterday evening. Now, not obviously going over pound too much, but obviously pound. I think our trade was probably something, it wasn't even that bad. If I just adjust this slightly, say hypothetically, it was something like this. And I think our stops were quite high. I think it was even a little bit higher. I think it was something like this. All right. That was obviously where our entry was, and it was something a bit like this. Now, brokers, all right, we got to be aware of it with everyone. I can remember I used to use back in the day, I used to use IG markets and IC markets. And then I realized that look, every broker's the same. So 10 p.m. All right, 10 p.m. is almost broker territory. All right, they can do what they want. Price don't look at TradingView. I remember sending screenshots of TradingView, like, look, this is this is obviously my TradingView. It's not anywhere near my stop loss because it tapped out. And what I wanted to do was actually I closed out. Mine obviously hadn't closed out. But I actually closed out because obviously I want to go through everything that you guys are obviously there was a couple of you had probably about four messages which is quite a lot altogether. I've been stopped out through spreads, so I closed out mine. But what obviously you have to anticipate is between 10 and 11 p.m. brokers can manipulate. All right, it's their best manipulation time. Now, if we're swing trading, I actually thought we had plenty of space. If our stop loss was nice and tight, I would have closed out. But obviously, I actually personally thought we had plenty of space. We had a good, I think it was a good probably 15 pips, but it is what it is. It stopped obviously for five of you out, so I closed mine out, which ended yesterday in a little bit of a loss. But obviously, I'm not too worried. Now, now, what you've got to imagine, all right, is 10 p.m. is a broker's. So I'm just going to reset this. So 10 p.m. is a broker's kind of time where they can do what what they want. All right. If they've got, remember they can see everyone's orders because obviously the orders have been made with them. So if there's more guys holding to the downside, then they're going to push spreads a little bit higher during 10 p.m., take all of these guys out. But naturally, and this is where it's wrong. If there was more guys trading to the upside and they push spreads to your TP, it wouldn't trigger your TP. It's just the way it is. I have argued this with three, four, five brokers. No one budges. It is what it is. So it's part of the market we've got to swallow. And obviously that's part of the reason why it's very, very rare. Well, I will hold trades overnight because I don't want to be included in this manipulation. I thought 15 to 20 pips was enough of a buffer, but obviously they've had other ideas, which it is what it is, like I'd said. So we can't really do very much about that. So yeah, but obviously, Aussie closed nice. I think yeah, Alex obviously held his all his positions, and obviously yeah, the main thing we have to take from things like this, all right, is the direction was right, the decision making was right, the analysis was right, everything was on point. All right. So I'd take obviously a lot of yeah positives from that because I know that right, you know what, that's brilliant because I know that my kind of mind's on point for this week, which is always good. Some weeks you're gonna struggle because you might be out on obviously expectation or price or whereas I think this week we've been pretty good. I've been taking it easy. So yeah, that's been obviously the plan. Now, again, I think today we're only going to be traded within this range here. I don't think we're going to have any, shocks. We want price to come down and test this level here. This, 98,600. It's been holding pretty well. This level here. I want it to come down because what's that going to do? That's going to send price up into our area, trigger, and then hopefully we're going to do something like this today, but we'll obviously have a trigger and then we can look to close out. Same with euro, same with Aussie, gold. I might stay away from this. I'm going to monitor this for the next hour, so I'll update that. And USDJPY as well. We actually we haven't taken a USDJPY trade yet, but obviously I just liked where it was this morning, so I'm happy to obviously take that risk today. But gold is the only one I'm going to monitor it for about an hour, and then I might close out because if it's going to extend, I was hoping it was going to come up and tap in pretty soon as London opened. So yeah, that's obviously our outlook for today. Pretty similar. We've obviously got to go with the dollar. The dollar is holding. Yields. Bonds. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the week, this is what we're looking for, bonds. And as you can see, this is a clean trade. You don't get much cleaner trend than this. Very nice. Very, very nice. You can see here, nice trend bouncing between. Very, very nice here. So obviously that's what we're expecting, and then that continuation here. So this is the one reason why I'm still buying the dollar. And remember our process, all right? We want to look across everything: stocks, yields, dollar, macros. Then we're going to choose the direction we're going to take it in. All right, everything's lining up to obviously buy the dollar. All right. So we know that it's only going to be trading within this range. We know that we've opened up strong. All right. So we're obviously not going to be looking to take this down here because that'd be crazy. After tonight, this could all change. This could all change. Oh, let's go back here. Sorry. After tonight, this could all change. Because obviously it'll be Jerome Powell's speech, and it's all about speech is about one thing. I don't know if you've ever read Jordan Belfort's book. It's called the Straight Line Method or something. Not the Wolf of Wall Street, not his other one. I mean, I've read all three of his books. They're all brilliant, but his straight line method is really, really interesting. There's a chapter on it about tonality, and it's even things like I guess one thing that I took from it, and it's not to do with trading, but if you're ever speaking to someone and that they're angry or upset or slightly aggressive, or if your child's a bit angry and uptight, if you speak to them in a very if you focus on your tonality, it doesn't actually matter sometimes what comes out. It's the calming voice. It's, what, everything's going to be okay, and let's stay calm. It's about, all these different things. So it's not about what he's going to say. And I always use tonality with speeches. It's about the confidence in how he is speaking. And I don't know how confident Jerome Powell is going to come out with because I don't know how he can be confident. So obviously these are all things that we've got to be looking at. Well, whether I watch the speeches tonight or I'll watch highlights of them, recaps. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's obviously my narrative of this morning. And I'm hoping some of these will trigger. I think Euro should trigger, and I think Aussie potentially. Like I said, gold. We're going to monitor this for an hour. USDJPY. I don't think that's going to trigger. Yeah, so I'd like pound, euro, and Aussie. They've been doing us pretty well. Pound's been quite volatile actually because it's almost just as strong as the dollar is, and so it doesn't take much to tip it to the upside. It doesn't take much to tip it to the downside. So it's been a bit up and down recently, but obviously this is where. Another thing that I mentioned, I had a chat with someone this morning. They're probably in this call. They're struggling a bit, and I said the one thing you do when you're struggling, you focus more and more about money. All right, you focus more and more. I've lost this money. Oh, I've been doing this. Rather than taking it away from having a win streak. All right, and you've got to think, right, if I hit 0.5% a day for a week, that's only 2.5%. I could do that easy. If you can do that, brilliant. Because that's, if you look at 0.5%, that's 10% a month, that's 120% a year. If you do that, you're going to be chilling. All right. But nobody wants to. Everyone wants 20%, 30%, 40%, these crazy, crazy numbers. I spoke to a guy the other day, might be in, he was 15% up on the day. I think it was just Friday. He wasn't happy. And obviously, we have to. I've told you my story so many times about how I was targeting 3% month for 12 months. What did that do? It got me on a win streak, got me in a routine. I achieved that most times, week one or week two. That gave me 2 weeks then to kind of focus. I was never not trading. I was never worried about, losses. But obviously, it's the win streak, it's the confidence, and it's the routine. So don't forget about all these things. And like I mentioned as well, which it looks like no one has done, but I've mentioned, at the beginning of the week, this is a week of reducing risk. All right, because there's a lot happening. It's not a week to make 100%. Yeah, you can do. You can gamble it, but there's obviously a 1 in 2 chance you're gonna blow it. So. It is what it is. Um, so yeah, right. Does anyone have any questions? Any questions? Happy to answer anything. Learning the strategy for 3 months now, and I feel confident, even if we are in a bit of drawdown. Well, that's one thing that I've tried to idealize and centralize everyone's bad habits. All right. And obviously everyone's bad habits. I mean, I could write them all out now. All right. Over trading, right? Trading without a plan. Over leveraging. This is one thing that I cannot control, right? Over leveraging, trading multiple pairs, right? Um, trade trading different times of the day, all right? Not sticking to a stop loss, all right? No goals. I reckon that is probably everybody's bad habits right there. I think that's everyone. So over trading, we conquer. All right, because we obviously got buy and sell limits, and that's there's maximum, you can have one or you can have three. Yeah, all right. It's your choice. All right. We've got our pairs. All right, so we're strict on our pairs. All right, we're strict on our times of day because we post, and that's it. We got to be stick strict on our stop loss. We've always got a plan. All right. So over leveraging is the one thing, and I always recommend when if you're joining, new, lower your risk the first couple of weeks until you get into it. But if any trade is worrying you, you're over leveraging. All right, and maybe you need to dial it back a bit. So obviously that's ticked. All right, but that's the one thing that I can't control. And then goals. It's having goals. I speak about it all the time, having goals. But you can all see here, these are everyone's really bad habits. All right. And the only thing that I can't control is this over, leveraging. But obviously with what I do, I've, I've managed to incorporate all of this. All right, because I know what it's like. All right, HT, no focus. That's trading without a plan. All right, so you got to really think about this because that is everyone's bad habits right here. All right, and we eliminate it. So even if you don't utilize this, strategy, you utilize it as in a routine because most of this is just routine. None of this speaks about your, strategy here. All right, none of this. All right, you can use multiple strategies. It might be that you want to you want to trade, I don't know, you want to trade GBP AUD, you want to trade it on the 15 minute, and all you're doing is waiting for price to obviously hit a certain area, you know? But at least you can still stick to all of these plans here, you can stick to all of them, all of them. So that's kind of where we are at here, and obviously what we're trying to achieve is to make sure that you don't have those really stupid habits because you could have, you could stick to all of these and have a week where you lose every single day. But that's okay. That's going to feel a lot better than you know, doing some random strategy and not even understanding why. Yeah, so just remember that. All right, these are all your. I mean, name some more. If anyone's got any more bad habits, I bet they relate to all of these. All right, and that's the focus. Screenshot this. Make sure you understand that these are your bad habits. Journaling. Probably no one here journals, or very few of you. How are you going to learn? Everything in life is about collecting data. All right. And if you're not collecting it, you don't understand, how what you're doing, why, so just be aware of that. All right. So yeah, but no, if there's no more questions, I'm going to end it here. Hopefully we get trigger this morning. I always like to, waffle on. So, I enjoy it when you guys obviously ask me questions and, reach out. Remember, you can speak to me directly. I'll always voice note you back. There's nothing that you're not going through that I haven't been through. So, remember that. Never be afraid to obviously ask me anything. So, right, have a great day and let's smash it, team. Let's smash it. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Have a good one.